You're listening to the Online Marketing Made Easy podcast, episode number 92.
Welcome to the Online Marketing Made Easy podcast. Business advice so easy, you'll feel like you're cheating. And now your host, Amy Porterfield.
Hey there, Amy Porterfield here, and welcome to another episode of the Online Marketing Made Easy podcast. I'm so very pleased that you've tuned in. Now, I thought we would kick off the new year with a topic that I think could be an absolute game changer in your business: Facebook ad targeting. So when you master Facebook ads, and specifically when you get really good at Facebook ad targeting, there's no doubt you're going to see some major shifts in the impact you have with your audience and a major increase in your revenue streams. Now, if you're super advanced with Facebook ads, or you've been having some amazing success with ads over the last few months or few years, then this episode is not for you. This episode is a really good fit for anybody that's just getting started with Facebook ads, or you've been dabbling with ads and you really want to make a commitment to incorporate Facebook ads in your marketing strategy this year, and you just want to make sure you're going to go down the right path with them. Or maybe you've been running some Facebook ads and seen some lackluster results, then this episode is going to be perfect for you. My goal at the end of this episode is for you to have a roadmap that you know, okay, this is where I'm going to focus. I know what needs to be on my radar right from the get-go. I'm going to dive deeper, maybe learn a little bit more about this or that, but now I've got a roadmap and I know what I need to do. That is my goal for this episode. Now, one of the number one mistakes I see with my students who are just getting started with Facebook ads, or they've been dabbling in ads for a while, is that they are targeting the wrong people. Now, this usually happens for two reasons. The first reason is that some of my students just don't truly understand who their avatar is. They don't really yet know who this person is, their pain points, what keeps them up at night, where they spend their time online, what books they're reading, and really what they want to focus on and what they need from, let's say, my student. So sometimes you just don't get your avatar. And I'm going to be talking a lot about that over the next few months in my podcast episodes, because I think it's really important to understand who your audience is and get very familiar with what they need from you. So that's usually one of the challenges some of my students face when it comes to targeting. They just don't know who their avatar is yet. Now, there's a bigger subset of my students that they know who their audience is. They know who their avatar is, but they just haven't dug deep enough to understand them in a way that Facebook ad targeting could make a huge difference for them in their business. And so they haven't done the research and they haven't documented their successes and their losses in terms of running Facebook ads. So they're not really sure what's working. They're kind of throwing a bunch of stuff to the wall, seeing what sticks, and then trying to focus on the stuff that sticks. But when you don't have a really solid Facebook targeting plan, then that's really hard to keep up and follow along with inside your own business. So in this episode, I'm going to touch on having a really simple, you know how I like it, simple, not really fancy, a really simple Facebook ad targeting plan so that you can keep adding to it and adding to it. And in a few months, you're going to have like the most valuable resource in your business where you know exactly who your audience is, where they're spending time, and how to get in front of them with the perfect message. That's what an ad targeting plan can do for your business. Now, for anyone who has ever ran Facebook ads in the past and has lost money, then you know the pain. And some of you might be even a little gun shy to run Facebook ads because you've been burned. But what I'll tell you is that almost all of us, everyone I've ever talked to, has been burned one way or another with Facebook ads. It's not Facebook ads problem, or they're not doing anything to us. It's just that sometimes getting started with Facebook ads is a little clunky, confusing. You're not really sure what you're doing. And it's normal to lose a little money in the beginning. So don't be hard on yourself. Just know that this episode hopefully will help you never, ever do that again. But I just want to put it out there. I feel your pain. I've been there in my early months of learning Facebook advertising, and my goal is for you to never go back there. Now, inside my private Facebook group for my programs, Webinars That Convert, I have a lot of students that ask me about Facebook ads because I teach Facebook ads inside my webinars program. And Facebook ads are a huge part of filling up webinars with quality people that genuinely care what you have to say. So when they start running Facebook ads, what will happen is they're not seeing really good results. And so they'll post their Facebook ad and a link to their webinar registration page in my private Facebook group. And they'll say, Amy, here's my ad. It's not converting well. Why don't you think it's working? And 9 times out of 10, I know that it has nothing to do with the Facebook ad image, nothing to do with the Facebook ad text, or even where they're sending traffic. 9 times out of 10, it has to do with who they are targeting and how they are targeting. So my first question is always, tell me about your targeting. So that's what sparked me to dive into Facebook ad targeting 101 today. For those just getting started with ads or those who have been struggling with ads, I want to help you create a Facebook ad targeting plan. Now, the best way I know how to do that is to break it down in terms of different ways that you can target, and then also help you out with some resources to find more information and data about your ideal audience on Facebook. So we're going to talk about different ways to target and then different ways to understand your audience even more. But before we dive in, a quick word about our sponsor. Before we dive in, I want to thank our sponsor today, 99 Designs. Now, I'm such a huge fan of this company because they can take care of all your graphic needs. We're talking logos, social media cover images, website graphics, and so much more. So visit 99designs.com/Amy and get a $99 upgrade for free. Okay, so are you ready to dive into your Facebook ad targeting 101 mini training? Now, full disclosure, I am going to cover a lot. I worked for hours and hours on this like I do for all these little mini trainings, and I have a lot of examples and insights to share with you. But don't worry. For this episode, you do not need to take any notes because I've turned this episode into a Facebook ad targeting starter guide. So meaning this episode is outlined for you already, plus I've added some extras in there to help you nail down your targeting strategy. One of the extras I've outlined in the starter's guide is to help you create a quick Facebook ad targeting plan. And you can go back to this plan again and again. So it is super valuable. All you need to do is go to amyporterfield.com/92 download to get the free Facebook ads targeting starter guide, or text the phrase 92 download to the number 33444. So make sure to grab your copy. That way you'll listen to how I explain all these details with targeting, and then you'll get a nifty little starter guide to walk you through it and remind you of all of the details I'm going to give you when you actually apply it to your own Facebook ad campaign. All right, let's go ahead and get started. When you're just getting started with Facebook ad targeting, the best way to look at things is this: warm versus cold targeting. The more you can target a warm audience, the bigger conversions you'll see. So you'll make more money, you'll spend less in ads, and you'll just make a bigger impact overall. I think that's a given, but I just wanted to put it out there to make sure we're on the same page. So a warm audience is a great audience to target. Now, to get you started down the right path with your Facebook ad targeting, I've broken things down into 4 targeting opportunities. 2 of them are in the warm audience category, and 2 of them are in the cold audience category. Now, don't get me wrong, a cold audience can still be extremely lucrative. I think most of my ad dollars have been spent to a cold audience. And because of that, I've seen some huge results. So cold audience does not necessarily mean a non-responsive audience, but that's why targeting is so important. If you target smart, then you can do some amazing things with that cold audience. But again, I mean, we all love to start with a warm audience, and that's what we're going to do right now. So your first targeting opportunity is to target your own audiences. Now, this is also called custom audiences, and there's a few ways you can do this. So if you already have an email list of, let's say, at least 1,000 people, you can upload that email list to Facebook. Facebook will match your email list with their database. When they find a match, which they often do, they'll put it in a bucket and you can target those people with your ads. Really, really valuable. We do this every single day, and these are our best leads for sure. They convert really quickly and they tend to become buyers a whole lot more quickly than anybody else we target. So that's one way you can do it. So if you ever needed some encouragement to grow that email list, believe me, your Facebook ads are going to get a whole lot more powerful when you do. Now, another way to target your own audience on Facebook is to target your own website traffic. So what you can do is you can place a Facebook pixel on your website, and then all of your web traffic can be actually tracked by Facebook. And when Facebook gets all that web traffic and they know that a certain amount of those people are also Facebook users, they're going to serve up your ad in the newsfeed to your own web traffic. Pretty cool, right? Now, I'm not going to talk about pixels in this episode. I will down the road because there's actually a new pixel that is rolling out. It's called the Facebook pixel, and it's going to take the place of the conversion tracking pixel and the custom audience pixel. And in mid-2016 is when Facebook is saying, you've got to start using the Facebook pixel. So for those of you who are using something else right now, don't worry, you don't have to rush to it. But I think we should start talking about this new Facebook pixel. Now, because I'm not going to create an episode on it just yet, I want to direct you to a really good episode about the Facebook pixel, just so you can start educating yourself about how important this is. Because that pixel not only helps you create these special custom audiences, it will also help you track any conversion that you get from your Facebook ads. So this pixel is crucial. So what I want you to do is go to rickmulready.com/66. rickmulready.com/66. My good friend Rick just did an episode all about this, and he'll walk you through the process, and he's got some really good notes so that you can print them out and use them when you're ready to start using the new pixel. Okay, so targeting your own audiences. I want to talk to you a little bit about this even further. So I want you to make sure, if you haven't done this already, you must add the pixel to your website. Now, if you want to take this one step further, I want you to add the pixel to any sales pages you have, opt-in pages, any thank you pages, any pages that you have out there that you can actually target those people with Facebook ads to get out in front of them again. I mean, we've heard it again and again, kind of like marketing 101, that people might not respond when they see your message the first time or the second time, but maybe the third or fourth time, they start to pay attention. So they might come to your opt-in page for your freebie, but they're distracted, or you just haven't sold them on the idea of giving you their name and email in exchange for what you have to give away. So they say, oh, I'll come back to this later. But then they see your ad in the newsfeed about that freebie. Well, now it's going to be a whole lot more powerful in terms of grabbing their attention. And so there's a whole bunch of ways that you can set up this pixel to track these different pages that you have out there and then retarget that audience. That's what it's called, really, retargeting. So why this is so important is that I want to make sure that you create as many warm audiences as possible when you're running Facebook ads. Let me give you an example of how I use it. And this is something I teach inside my Webinars That Convert program. So what I do is I set up blog posts around certain topics. So during my webinar promotion, I created 2 different blog posts all around webinars: the myths of running webinars, the struggles of webinars, the benefits of webinars. It was all in these 2 blog posts. And so I ran ads to the blog post. And so I had a pixel specifically for those blog posts so that I knew the exact people that were going to those exact blog posts. I knew what they were interested in. And then when it was time to run the promotion for my webinars course, I sent out ads to specifically those people that visited those blog posts. And those were the ads that converted the best. So let me tell you, it is really powerful when you dive in and get even more strategic with your pixels and how you set them up. That might be a little bit more advanced if you're brand new, but I at least want you to know the opportunities here. So learning about the pixel, learning about uploading your audiences to Facebook, really important, because remember, it's all about the warm targeting groups that you can go after. Now moving on to targeting opportunity number 2, and it's all about targeting your own Facebook fans. Now, targeting your own Facebook fans, of course, falls into the warm targeting group for sure. It's not as warm as your own email list, or it's not as warm as all the people that visit a specific blog post, because I think that traffic is definitely more targeted. However, if people have become your Facebook fans and they've engaged with you pretty regularly on your Facebook page, if you're constantly putting out good content, then you've got a warm audience and they're going to pay attention. Now, here's the huge plus. You will almost always pay less with your Facebook ads when you target your own fan base versus, of course, a cold audience. So targeting your own fan base will save you a whole bunch of money. So if you ever needed a good reason to focus on building up your Facebook fan base, I think this is the number one best reason to do so. And if you're just getting started with Facebook ads, I want to encourage you to run a like ad campaign where you're running a Facebook ad, and you could do some of this targeting that I'm teaching you here now, but you're running a Facebook ad to get more Facebook fans. And if you're not in a promotion mode right now and you're working on some project and you want to make sure that you've got a really good targeting base to work with when you're ready to promote, one of the great things that you can do right now is to run a like ad campaign and build up your Facebook fan base with quality fans. And then, of course, target them when you're ready to run some ads. So that's a really easy way to target with your Facebook ad campaigns. Targeting opportunity number 3 is to target other Facebook pages. Now, you've heard this one before. This is not anything new, but I want to talk to you about the importance here and some of the nuances that you want to pay close attention to. I've been running ads since 2010, and I've spent over $500,000 on Facebook advertising. That's a lot of money, right? Now, targeting other Facebook pages is the strategy that we have used the most right from the get-go. It's the strategy that allows you the most opportunities and experimentation. Targeting other Facebook pages is where I want you to put the most time and energy when it comes to research and experimentation. Now, I'm going to talk to you about creating a Facebook targeting plan, and all the details you get from targeting other Facebook pages should definitely go into that targeting plan. This is where it's going to become extremely valuable. So for my newbies, when you're setting up a Facebook ad, in the ads dashboard, you're going to come across a place that says interest. And interest is the spot where you would type in certain Facebook pages that you want to target. Essentially, you're targeting the fans of those Facebook pages. Now, right from the get-go, I've got to say that there are going to be many times that you try to type in the name of a Facebook page and it will not pop up. And it is the most frustrating thing ever. It's a Facebook glitch. I've heard a million different reasons for this, but I've never heard one consistently. So I'm not exactly sure why this is happening, but you can't target every Facebook page on Facebook. Sometimes it's just like a hit or miss thing. That's why the research and the experimentation and tracking it in a targeting plan is so very important. Now, I want to give you what I call a super tip. So when you are targeting other Facebook pages, and again, I'm going to give you some tools to find out which pages you should be targeting. But before we get there, when you're targeting other Facebook pages, you can put in a bunch of pages. Like, let's just say I was going to target Social Media Examiner and HubSpot and Digital Marketer. So I put those in to target. What that means is when I put them all in at once, it means that I'm looking for fans that are a fan of either one or all of those pages. They just need to be a fan of at least one or two or all three. However, Facebook just rolled out something over the last few weeks called detailed targeting. And with detailed targeting, now you can put in that you want to target people that like this page and this page. So they would have to like Social Media Examiner and digital marketer in order for me to target them. Now, you have to think about and experiment with when this would be really valuable. And you might want to do it in terms of they have to like Social Media Examiner's Facebook page, and they also have to be interested in marketing. I don't know, I'm making this up, but the and is really interesting, and we've never had that capability before. So just know it's called detailed targeting, and you will see it as an option, or you should see it pretty soon if you don't yet, inside the Power Editor, inside your ads dashboard as well. So detailed targeting, pretty dang cool. Now, earlier I mentioned that I have a freebie for this episode. Now, what I didn't tell you is that I have a list of 10 questions that you must be able to answer about your audience in order to fully optimize this interest opportunity or targeting other Facebook pages. So I want you to grab this special guide and just make sure you can answer all 10 of the questions that I pose in this guide about your audience. And if you can't, in a minute, I'm going to talk about some valuable tools you can use to find out more about your audience. So stay tuned for that. But before you forget, make sure to go to amyporterfield.com/92 download to get the free targeting starters guide, or you can text the phrase 92 download to 33444. Now, before we get to the final targeting opportunity, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how you would set up your ad when you're ready to run your campaigns. Now, specifically, I want to talk to you about how to set up your ads when you're targeting different Facebook pages. So here's my tip for you. I suggest that you set up one ad set for each targeting group. So if, let's say you created a campaign and the campaign is just called Lead Magnet Fall 2016. So in fall 2016, you're running a big campaign to grow your email list with the special lead magnet. So now inside that campaign, I want you to have multiple ad sets. And in each ad set, I want you to target just one Facebook page. And the reason I want you to do that is because if you put a bunch of Facebook pages into interest at the same time, you'll never know which one is converting good for you. And I usually say if you can get a conversion, someone to join your email list from about $1 to $5, well, then you're golden. You're doing really good. So that changes based on niche and what you're doing. But if you wanted a benchmark, that's usually the number I use. So let's say you're getting leads for $3 from one ad set, but you put in like 5 different Facebook pages in one ad set. Well, then you'll never know which one is really producing for you. So my tip for you is to do one ad set, one interest group, one Facebook page, basically, and start the budget off really low and then watch it for, let's say, 24 to 48 hours, start to get some traction. And right away, you'll start to see with over the next few days, you'll start to see which ones are converting really well and which ones are duds. Either they're really, really expensive, but you got to give it a little time to kind of balance itself out. But either they're really expensive or they're just not converting at all. You pause all of those, and now hopefully you have a list of, let's say, 5 that are converting really well. Now, one thing you might want to do is experiment and group those 5 together, because here's something that I know a lot of my students struggle with. So pay close attention here because this might be something you struggle with. Let's say you're targeting a Facebook page and the audience size is, let's say, 10,000 people. And we'll talk about audience size a little bit later too. But let's say you're targeting this Facebook page and again, audience size is 10,000 and it's doing really well. Like your conversions are really good. And so you decide, I'm going to put more money to this ad campaign. Like I'm going to, add $50 more a day because this is converting great. And then all of a sudden, instead of, let's say, $3 per lead, you start to pay $8 per lead just by adding more to the budget. The challenge is because there's only 10,000 people that you're targeting, you're going to blow through that 10K list really quickly, meaning you can't really scale it. So when you add more money to it, you increase your budget, the audience size can't handle the budget, so you're just going to see a larger cost per lead. So instead of doing that, I want to encourage you to group together some of your interests that are actually working for you. Now, when you do that, make sure you group like interests together, meaning it's great to group Social Media Examiner and Digital Marketer together, but I wouldn't group Social Media Examiner and then the Today Show. That would be a weird grouping. But I would group Inc. Magazine, Entrepreneur Magazine, Fast Company, Success Magazine. That would be an awesome grouping if each of those pages are actually converting well for you. So as you can see, there's a lot of experimentation. And the one thing I want you to do is get a really big list together of the pages that you are going to target. And we're going to talk about that when I talk about some tools that will help you do just that. Okay, moving on to target opportunity number 4. And this one is all about creating lookalike audiences. So a lookalike audience is basically you taking a custom audience that you have and then saying, okay, Facebook, you know everything about us. It's kind of scary, I know. So go ahead and find me an audience that's really similar to my own audience that I've already created. So what I might do is upload my email list and then say, okay, Facebook, find me more people that are similar to the likes, interests, and psychographics of my own email list. Pretty cool, right? What happens is that Facebook sends back a huge lookalike audience, like usually 1 million or more. And so that's fine. And we'll talk about audience size as well. But if you want to get a little bit more strategic with that, I like to do some layering. And let me talk to you about this layering. So I actually learned this the first time through James Wedmore. And he told me about this and I thought, okay, that's cool. And so we've been doing it inside my business as well. So if you get a lookalike audience and it's like 1 million people, what you can do is say, okay, use this lookalike audience to target, but also these people need to have at least liked one of these Facebook pages. So I might add Social Media Examiner, Digital Marketer. I know I just keep using them as examples, but whatever, just adding a few Facebook pages that would have some alignment. And so that way, this lookalike audience gets even more targeted. And we've seen some really good success with this, and I think it's worth looking into so you could narrow down your targeting just a bit more. So something to think about. And if you want to experiment, run some ads to that lookalike audience without any layering, and then run some ads to the lookalike audience with some layering and see which one converts best. Be patient with yourself. This isn't all going to fall into place. It's not all going to make perfect sense until you get your hands in there. You got to get your hands dirty and experiment and try it out. Remember, my goal here is just to give you a roadmap. And I've got notes on this. I've created a starter's guide for you. So don't stress out. Just know I want to give you a bunch of examples so you start to see where you want to go with your Facebook ad targeting. Now, one last thing about lookalike audiences, when you upload a custom audience and ask Facebook to turn that into a lookalike audience, you need to have at least 100 people that will match Facebook's database in your custom audience in order for them to turn it into a lookalike audience. Just a little word of advice. Okay, now that we've explored the 4 targeting opportunities that are going to be your smart strategies when getting started with Facebook ad targeting, let me refresh your memory. We're going to target our own custom audiences. We're going to target other Facebook pages. We're going to target our own fan base. And we're going to target lookalike audiences because Facebook does a really good job of finding us more people like the audiences we've already attracted. So once you're clear about your opportunities for targeting, now I want to focus on the most important factor to targeting smarter, and that is knowing our audience. And you've heard this before. You know that I've talked about it 1 million times. If you've been in any of my programs, you know I talk about the importance of understanding your avatar, your ideal audience. But when it comes to Facebook ads, we've got money on the line. And that's why I really want to stress the importance here. Now, I have 2 research tools that should become second nature to you. I want you to use them all the time when you start to dive into Facebook advertising. And the good news is that these tools are super easy to use. Thank goodness, right? You know me, I'm not a techie girl. I don't like any overly sophisticated tools. So these tools are pretty easy to use, very easy to use, in fact, and you're going to get the hang of them right away. The first tool is Audience Insights. Have you heard of Audience Insights already? It's a pretty powerful tool. Now, right now, I think it's probably the most powerful tool for anybody running Facebook ads. As a beginner with Facebook ads or someone who has just kind of dabbled, but you haven't seen big results, it's going to help you better define who your audience is and where they're spending time. It's definitely my number one go-to tool, and it's going to help you fill out your entire Facebook ad targeting plan. Remember that plan that I'm going to give you all the details to in the giveaway? Well, the plan is simple, and when you use the Audience Insights, it's really quick to fill out. Now, as you become more advanced in your ad targeting, what you can do with Audience Insights will become even more powerful. So for example, we just did this with my business. You can upload your entire email list, and then Facebook inside Audience Insights will actually tell you all about your email list based on the fact that they match the people on my email list to their database. They'll tell me on average what Facebook pages they visit, how they spend money online, where they live, the ratio of male to female, all of their likes, their interest. It's kind of crazy. So that's what Audience Insights does for you. It gives you information about your potential audience. Now, again, when you get more sophisticated and you grow a really big email list, then you can upload your email list into Audience Insights and get all that detail. I don't know the exact number. I don't think Facebook's ever come out with that, but I have noticed that you need a pretty big email list in order to get those amazing results. So that's just another really good reason why list building should be at the top of your list. But until you have a really big email list, you can use Audience Insights this way. You could go to Audience Insights, and if you have a lot of fans already, you can say, okay, show me pages that my own Facebook fan base has frequently liked. And so they'll give you, I think that's the most powerful, they'll give you a list of categories and then Facebook pages that your audience has also liked. Now, right there, you're going to add those pages to your targeting plan because we're going to get a list of pages that you can experiment with. And so in the targeting plan I'm going to give you, we're going to have kind of like a holding area where these are the pages we haven't checked yet, but we're going to try them. And then we're going to have an area of these are the pages that do really well, and these are the pages that didn't pan out so well. So we're going to have that in your targeting plan. So what you'll do is when you use Audience Insights, all the pages that you learn about go into kind of like this holding area. Now, what's really cool is that you don't have to have a lot of Facebook fans to make this work. You could go in there and just type in, again, sorry, Social Media Examiner, or hey guys, I guess I'm using you a lot today, but you could go into Audience Insights and type in Social Media Examiner. And then Audience Insights will tell you about people that have also liked Social Media Examiner, what else they've liked, what other pages have they liked, what are their interests. So if you find pages that are really aligned with your ideal audience, you can start to get amazing information. And again, I think the most powerful thing in Audience Insights is to help build your list of other pages you're going to target. It's a must for sure. One little caveat to that is that when you put in a page name and then it gives you a bunch of other Facebook pages you can target, that doesn't mean they're going to pop up in interest. Remember I said earlier that it's really frustrating when you try to target a Facebook page and it doesn't pop up in interest inside the ads dashboard? Well, just because it pops up in Audience Insights doesn't mean it's going to pop up in interest. I know it's maddening, but I just wanted to let you know that in case you get stuck and think you're doing something wrong. Oh, it's not you. It's Facebook. Okay, so we're moving on to research tool number 2. I had 2 of them for you. The second one is something that's gotten better and better over time. This used to not be one I talked about. Actually, this might be the first time I talk about it here, and I'll soon put it inside my Webinars That Convert program. So any of my students listening, believe me, when I update that ads video, you'll get all this information and then some. But one of the coolest tools to use is the suggested interest inside of your ads dashboard or the Power Editor, wherever you're setting up your ad. So when you go into interest and you type in a Facebook page, right when you start to type in, notice what other Facebook pages Facebook is suggesting to you. Because if you can't make one page work, meaning you put it in and it's not populating so you can't target it, Facebook's going to give you some other suggested pages that you can target. And because Facebook has put a humongous effort in really understanding their audience, their suggested pages have been pretty powerful lately. So this is something I want you to pay attention to. Now, I don't want you to just take it at face value and say, oh, well, Facebook suggested I target this page. All right, I'm going to put my money there. I want you to document those pages that are popping up in suggested interest, and I want you to put them in the holding area in your targeting plan, and I want you to research them. Go check out the pages, find out what people are talking about on those pages, what's the point of the page, who their audience is. Do a little homework, and if you like what you see, then go ahead and do some experimenting with targeting those pages. But let me tell you, when you start to target Facebook pages and they're not popping up for you and you get really frustrated, and then you see that you've got some more suggestions, it makes you feel a whole lot better. So I want you to pay attention to the suggested interest when you're literally typing in the page names when you're setting up your ad. Really, really valuable. Okay, so again, those two tools, Audience Insights and the suggested interest when you're setting up your ads. Okay, so we're moving into the final stretch. And before I wrap things up, I want to talk to you a little bit about audience size when you're targeting, because I get this question a lot. A lot of people will say, well, how big should my audience be when I'm targeting? And the way I set it up for you here, especially if you're just starting out, I encouraged you to do one ad set with one Facebook page to target. And when you do it that way, you're going to have pretty small audiences. And the goal for you is to have, let's say, 15 or 20 different Facebook pages that you're experimenting with. So you might have 20 different ad sets, each with really small budgets daily, and you want to run them for a few days and see which ones do the best. Now, when you do that, you're going to cancel or pause a bunch of them, and maybe you have 5 that are converting really well. But each of those 5 might have 5,000 or 10,000 people in each of the audiences. That's why then I want you to experiment with grouping them together. Now, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, depending on who you're grouping together. So you've got to play around with this, but at least experiment with the grouping. Because if you get one really strong audience that, let's say, has 1 million people in that audience, well, now you're giving Facebook something to play with. Now they could reach a whole lot more people, and likely not only are you going to see a lot more conversions, but the cost per lead is going to go down. So it's important to focus on trying to find a bigger audience, but you're not going to start there. So I just wanted to let you know it's okay if you have a bunch of ad sets with smaller audiences in them, but eventually your goal is to form those bigger ad sets that have, let's say, 500,000, hopefully up to 1 million, where there's something really good to play with there. Now, if you are a local audience, obviously these numbers do not apply to you. Your numbers will be considerably lower, but I'm talking to the people that are either global businesses or you're reaching, specific countries. Then you can play with numbers that big. Okay, so to wrap things up, when it comes to Facebook ad targeting, those who really kick some serious butt are those that are patient and they experiment and test and experiment and test and experiment and test a little bit more. I'm telling you, if you can just be patient with yourself and really test this out, you could see some amazing results. Now, when you're experimenting and testing, you're going to come across some gems, some Facebook pages that are going to convert like gangbusters for you. And that's when I want you to make sure you're documenting the entire journey. What's working, what's not working, and what do you want to still test out? What are those pages that you haven't tested yet, but you want to put them into the ads dashboard and see what they do for you? That's what the Facebook ad targeting plan is all about. So inside my Facebook ads targeting starter guide, I've outlined that plan for you. I've also summed up everything I've just gone over here with some links to resources and some more tips and strategies to help you out. So it's a really, really valuable guide, not too long, but when you're ready to run ads, I want you to print it out and have it next to your computer. So to get your hands on it, go to amyporterfield.com/92 download, or you can text the phrase 92 download to the number 33444. So before we wrap up, a quick word about our sponsor. And finally, I want to thank our sponsor, 99 Designs. Now, you know when you market online, it's really difficult to stand out from all of that online noise clutter. So how do you do it? Well, I think you do it through impeccable branding, and that includes your logo, your social media cover images, your website, and everything in between. At 99 Designs, you can get anything designed in just a week for a startup-friendly price. So to give you a little something extra, when you go to 99designs.com/Amy, you'll get a $99 upgrade for free. That upgrade makes your design contest stand out from all the others and bumps you to the top of the list so more designers can see your contest. So make sure to check out 99designs.com/Amy. Now let's jump back to our podcast. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I know I covered a lot. That's why I promised to put everything in those notes in the starter guide. So don't worry. It's all there waiting for you if you want a good refresher. Thanks again for being here, and I cannot wait to connect with you again next week. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening to the Online Marketing Made Easy podcast at www.amyporterfield.com.